Hey y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. Today is Sunday. Sorry, I forgot to write it down. Sunday, February 12th, 2023. I've been doing stuff the last few weekends, so this is the first weekend I've had free to do this, and my brain is still trying to get back into gear from vacation for a few weeks. So if this is your first time joining me, I appreciate you checking me out. If you are returning, I appreciate you coming back. Either way, I hope that you will like, subscribe, and all those fun things, and I hope you enjoy what you see. Today is a little bit of knitting, tatted crochet, but mostly cross stitch. So anyway, let's get to it. So Hearsay, a couple things since I last saw you. I think I last recorded the middle of January, right before we went on our cruise. We went on an 8-day cruise to Limon, Costa Rica, the Panama Canal, and Grand Cayman. I might, at the end of the video, put a few pictures in of the trip. It was a lot of fun. It was very relaxing. We went with 2 other couples that we travel with somewhat regularly. Let's see, Limon, Costa Rica, we did like an excursion where we did a little boat ride down part of a canal, and we saw a sloth hanging in the tree, and we saw a crocodile and some monkeys flying around. And then we went to like a rainforest research area where they had a butterfly enclosure. They had exhibits of all the native animals in the rainforest. Part of the research they do is the animals that exist, and they also do things to try to keep the biodiversity in the rainforest. So we saw the snakes that they have in the rainforest and all the frogs. Those were all kind of behind glass because most of them were poisonous. And then we, a couple days later, we did a partial transit of the Panama Canal. We went through the Gatun locks, which are the first set of locks on the Caribbean side. There are 2 sets of locks on the Caribbean side. There's the Gatun locks, which are the older historical locks. There is a new set of locks for larger ships, but we fit in the old ones, and so that's what we went through. That was really cool. It takes about 2 hours to go through one way. And it's really kind of interesting to see, particularly if there's a ship coming the other way. So like from the Caribbean side, you're on the low side. And there was another ship that was like on the high side. There's 3 sets of locks to go through the lock. So they were on the high side, we were on the low side. And then we kind of met in the middle, and then we were above them and they were below us. And it was kind of cool. They had these little, they're not trains really, but they're on a little rail that they have guidelines they hook up to the ship to keep you from knocking against the sides of the lock, because I mean there's really like that much distance. I mean it's a very tight fit. There's like this much distance between the side of the ship and the lock. You're going very slow. I mean, we knocked it a couple of times, but you're going so slow it's not like a big jarring. But it was really cool to see. I mean, the only way you can really see it is by going through it. So that was cool. So we went through the lock. There's a lake right after that first lock. Sat in the lake for 2 or 3 hours, and then we turned around and went back through the lock. So, and then we went to Grand Cayman. Grand Cayman was a port we had been to before, although it was on our first cruise. And the last time we had just gotten off the ship and wandered for an hour or so and gotten back on the ship. This time we decided to do an excursion, and we did the kind of stereotypical tourist excursion, but we had never done it before. So we went and did Stingray City, where it's like a sandbar and they feed the stingrays there. So they come and you kind of hold and pet the stingrays. I don't know if pet is the right word. So that was cool. And then we went and did the dolphin swim experience, where you get to pet the dolphins. You get to there's one where you do like the belly swim, so it comes up behind you, grab their fins, and you're like riding on their belly. And then you get on like a boogie board, and they push you on the boogie board by pushing on your feet. A dolphin nose is quite hard when it's pushing on your foot. I mean, it's not horribly painful, but it's not comfortable. But it was cool. It was a lot of fun. So, like I said, if I remember, I will try to put a few pictures in the end, just so if you're not interested in that, you don't have to watch it. So we went on a cruise. Let's see, we left Friday for Tampa. The cruise left Saturday. The cruise got back on Sunday. We flew home on Sunday. We took Monday off to do laundry and stuff like that. I went to work for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on Thursday, my friend Michelle and I headed down to Myrtle Beach for the Myrtle Beach retreat put on by Barefoot Needle Arts. Our friend Peggy lives down there, so she joined us at the retreat. This is the similar retreat to the one I went to in October that was also put on by Barefoot Needle Arts. Had a great time as usual. It was nice and very relaxing. Started a couple new projects, which you will see later. Saw some people that I had met in October, met a lot of new people. It's a great retreat. They do it in October and February, off seasons for the beach. Unfortunately, I will not make the next October one because I will be at the Queen City retreat in Charlotte, which is the Nora Corbett retreat being put on by Amy and Kitschy Whips. I can't think, Maggie. Couldn't think of her real name. Which is sad because I would love to go to the beach retreat again in October, but I plan to be back next February if I can get in. Hopefully, it's a smallish retreat. It's about 80 people, which is great. The only problem is I think it's going to get harder to get into. This time there were two very well-known floss tubers that were there. Michelle from Made by Michelle McGraw, who is from North Carolina, and Stacy, the 911 stitcher, came all the way from California. So I have a feeling once they mention it on their floss tube, it will be harder to get into. It filled up pretty fast this time as well. But in addition to those two, I also met Renee, the Appalachian stitcher. She is actually doesn't live that far from me, so I may see her again sooner rather than later. There was another floss tuber there, the Southern Yankee stitcher. I did not meet her. At least if I did meet her, I did not realize that she was the Southern Yankee stitcher. So I don't even know her first name. I have found her floss tube. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet to figure out her name. She looks familiar. I know I saw her. I just, if I met her and talked to her, I didn't know at the time that she was a floss tuber. So I look forward to checking her floss tubes out. Renee, the Appalachian stitcher, is hilarious. She does most of her videos in kind of a vlog style where she does little snippets for a week or two and then puts them all together. I enjoy that style. I keep thinking I might try it, but time just gets away from me and it just doesn't happen. So instead, you'll continue to get these really long videos. But that's about it. Oh, also Leslie from Under the Sea Fabrics was there with a bunch of her fabric in the shop. So you will see that when we get to Stashing for Retirement, because I may have indulged in a bit of that. And there is quite a bit of Stashing for Retirement from that retreat that I'll show you in a little bit. So, hey y'all, I'm just sitting here editing the video that I took, and I realized I can't believe that I forgot to tell y'all about, at the beach retreat, the fact that we saw that Chinese balloon flew over us. We were staying right near the Myrtle Beach airport, and so it was went over us. I mean, from the naked eye, it looked like a white balloon, like a kid let their helium balloon go up. But even cooler, and I unfortunately did not see this part because after I saw, oh, there's the balloon, I came inside. But some people actually saw it get shot down over the ocean. So anyway, I can't believe I forgot to mention that because, international event at the beach retreat. So anyway, I'm going to start this in because I just thought it was funny. We were teasing Amy and Memory that they were really going to have to up their game for October to beat that. So other than that, it's just been work. We started what we refer to as the long session late January, actually the week I was on the cruise. Normally they don't really get going good until late February, early March, but this year they have just I'm not sure my grammar, they dove right in. So like I said, I worked a couple days week between the cruise and the beach retreat, but this past week has just been full on let's go, and I have a feeling it's going to stay that way until June probably. So anyway, so let's get onto the actual craft portion of the video. First up, I have verdicts. The first one will not be a surprise if you saw my last video. This was my granny scrap blanket. I mentioned last time that I had realized that the side where I was ending the round, I'd lost stitches by just probably not joining right or joining in the correct place. So it was kind of wonky. So I decided once I finished that round I was going to stop, and I did. It is about, I'm not going to hold the whole thing up right now because you can't see it. I will put a picture in of kind of it laying on the living room floor so you can kind of see what it really looks like. It is about 55, 56 inches wide all the way around. This was just done with scraps, held double, so it is quite heavy. And I need to finish, sort of weave in an end as I change, but I need to weave in a little bit better and wash it. And then I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. It's kind of cool today, but I'm not sure how much more winter we have. I don't know. I might take it to either a homeless shelter or one of the mission groups that, provides warm clothing and stuff for people who live on the streets, if they want it. If not, maybe I might take it to a pet shelter or something so they can just use it as a pet blanket. So I don't really have a need for it. I have more than enough. Not only blankets that I've already done, but more scrap blankets that are on the needles. So we'll see. I don't know. I might end up keeping it. Well, who knows? The other verdict that I have is cross stitch. So on the cruise, I didn't want to have to take a ton of stuff to do cross stitching, but I didn't want to not have cross stitching. So what I took is I had 3 identical Mill Hill kits that I had bought, planning to do one for me, one for Michelle, and one for Peggy. So I worked on those on the cruise and finished them up when I got back. So I made 3 of these. This is Mill Hill kit, and I forgot to write down, let me get the actual name of it. The name of the kit is Little Lamb. It was a Mill Hill kit. A lot of beads on that one. And I made all 3 of them. I got one and almost the second finished on the cruise, and I did the third one when I got back. They don't really take that long. And then I trimmed them down, and they come with a magnet, but I wanted them to be more ornament style, so this is just a little bit of black DMC. And then I backed them with the self-adhesive velveteen that you can get. And I did I used masking tape to tape the hanger to the back of the ornament before I put the velveteen on, because it's not really quite strong enough to hold the hanger. But then I gave my 2 friends the magnet in case they wanted to turn them into a magnet. So, and hopefully my phone is not doing anything weird because my mother is calling, but she's going to have to wait. Whoops. So, pardon me. Anyway, so I made 3 of those, but I did already give the other 2 to my friends Michelle and Peggy last weekend. So I will actually put a picture here of all 3 of them just in case you want to see it. So that is it for verdicts. Let's move on to quarters in session. We'll start with knitting. I just have 2, and I just dropped something. Sorry. 2 knitting projects to show you. I have done a few more squares on the sock blanket, the small squares, but I'm not going to show you that because it's not noticeable really what I've done unless you've memorized what I did last time. I just figured I don't care that much. So the first knitting project is the blanket I'm making for the coworker who is due in March. I'm using Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton and Be Still My Tart. I'm just doing a chevron pattern that's kind of a combination of various chevron patterns that I've used before and the things I like. So I have made some decent progress on this because my husband and I watched a movie last night and Friday night. So, and I've worked on a little bit more otherwise, but I got a good chunk done the last couple of nights. So I'm probably about halfway on that, but I need to keep putting some consistent work in it so I can finish that by the end of this month because she is due, I think, early March. It's her second baby, so hopefully she won't go too early. I'm doing that on a US 6 4mm needle. I'm keeping it in this bucket bag by Cottontail Farm. They are on Etsy. The other knitting project is I cast on some socks. This is in a Christmassy bag that I made from some fabric. It's in this bag because I had all the cross stitch stuff for the cruise in here as well, and it was big enough to hold all that. The yarn I'm using for these, I'm looking for the tag, which is, I thought in here somewhere, but it's a small tag. I can't find it. It may have fallen out. This is Stray Cat Socks yarn. The colorway is already there yet. It's just a nice rainbow color. So I did most of this on the cruise. I haven't really knit on these since I got back. I got the heel turned the last day we had at sea because I wanted to be able to knit in the airport if I wanted to. I think I maybe did a couple rounds since then, but not much. So this yarn is an MCN blend. It's a merino cashmere nylon. It has 10% cashmere, so it's really soft. It also means it will probably peel a little bit more wearing, but that's okay. I have enough pairs of hand knit socks that if they get holes in them, I usually just toss them rather than repair them. So that is all the knitting. Let's get on to the cross stitch. The first project I'm going to show you is my second January Whip Go call that I had made some progress on my last video, but had not completed the final 10 hours. I have this in a bag by Lynn X Stitch Creates. This is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. I am doing it on a 40 count Atomic Ranch in the colorway Vapors. I am doing it with all of the called for MPI silks. Sorry for the... Except that 3 of the silks that are called for that in the pattern picture look to be kind of a bluish gray or grayish blue don't look like that in real life to me, so I'm subbing those out. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I don't remember how many hours I had done at that point. But here's what it looks like after a full 10 hours since you last saw it. I mean, here's the additional progress I made since you last saw it. So I really enjoy working on this one. I love the silks, of course. I'm doing that 1/2 since it's on 40 count. I was looking to see. Yeah, it looks like I only worked on it like one more day after you last saw it, but I don't remember how many hours that was. The next one is my February gnome, which was going to be finished in like October or November. Still not finished. I am going to try to get it finished this month. And again, I don't remember. So this is what it will look like when it's finished. And this is what it looked like last time you saw it. These patterns are by Charlie's Needle, and I have done January. I'm working on February. This is in a bag by Gamma's Treasures. Couldn't remember who it was by. And this is where I am. Pretty sure the last time you saw it, I had not done any of the teddy bear. But I can't remember what else I had done since you last saw it. So that hopefully will get done this month. I don't remember exactly where I am percentage-wise, but I know I'm well over half of it. Well over 50%. Can't get the right words out. So that was the last of what I had done, the little bit of time I had left in January, because we got back from our cruise on like the 29th. So all I did from the like 19th through the 29th was those Mill Hill sheep kits. So the couple of days that I had at the end of January, I just, I think I worked a little bit on Mr. February, and I finished up my autumn close stuff. The next project is my full coverage focus for February. This is Kingdom of Books. It'll look like this. This is a kit, a Russian kit that I bought back in like 2016. The designer name translates to make it with your own hands. I am doing this on the kit fabric, which is a 14 count Aida. I am stitching all of the background. And I have done a little over, this is in another Lanex Stitch Creates bags, Ruth Bader Ginsburg bag. I have done a little over 1,000 stitches this month on that, and hopefully, did I show you what it looked, this is what it looked like last time I showed it to you. It's amazing how it's only been 3 weeks and I still forget that every time. And this is where I've gotten to so far. So I finished all this background behind the gate. That's just one over one. This is 14 count Aida, so it's all over one. But and then I've finished this a little bit, and I'm starting to fill in down here. So, but I think about half of this was not done the last time you saw it. So the gate was done, but that background was not done. So I'm hoping to get at least another 1,000 stitches in on that this month. My February Whip Go calls, the first one is The Tree of Magic by Barbara Anna Designs. I have this in, this is not Gamma's Treasures. This is the name, the bag designer whose name I can never remember. I apologize. I do this every time and I can never remember who makes this bag, and there's no tag on it, so I don't know, sorry. This is a pattern by Barbara Anna Designs that is only available through Nitka Moscow, so I do not know if it is available right now. I haven't heard whether or not that has changed. I'm using the kit floss and the kit fabric, which is a 32 count Zweigart, and I guess natural or something. I don't have a name. This is what the whole pattern looks like. Excuse me. The hard copy is not a full picture of the pattern, so that's what it looks like. And this is what it looked like at the beginning of the year, which is the last time you saw it. My Whip Go goals for all my projects this year are 10 hours. Let's see if I can get a way to... And I have finished the 10 hours on this, which got this side all complete. Sorry, I'm trying to hold and point. So this side all got done, did some more, got the whole center pole done for this section, and started over here. I am missing, I have not done his eyeball, and there's a little bit of back stitching over here on these butterflies that needs to be done. That I didn't realize till I got over here. I've made a working copy. The back stitch marks on the original pattern are in color, but I've made a working copy, so they're in black, and some of them like go along the lines of the grid, so I didn't really notice at the time I was working over there that they needed back stitching, so I'll probably, at the time I finish that whole level, go back and do the back stitching for that level. So, my second February Whip Go call I have not gotten to yet. So that is Lady Liberty by Twin Peak Primitives, which I started last year. So after I work on that, I'll show you where that is and what that looks like. I'm doing kind of a rotation this year. Aside from my full coverage focus for the month and my 2 Whip Go calls, I'm trying to rotate through my projects in order of start date and get at least 500 stitches on them. I haven't done that. I have only done that for one project this month just because of coming back from travel and the beach retreat and all of that. But the one I have gotten that done on is Winter Wonderland. It is in the scrunch bag from the Brass Button. This is what the pattern will look like when it's finished. And this is what it looked like the last time you saw it, which was the beginning of the year. And I got 700 or so stitches in this before I put it away. And this is what it looks like now. So I finished this whole stay. Anyway, I finished this whole white section. The last time when you saw it at the end of the year, I think I had that center thing, but I did this and all this and right up here. So, this is, like I said, it's still one of my oldest projects. I'm still in, when did I start that? 2020. I started that one in late 2020 other than the blip back in 2016, early 2017, when I got back into cross stitch for real this time. This was actually the first project. Well, not the first project I started. I think the first project I have remaining that I started during that time, if that makes sense. And then I have 2 new starts, because starting 3 in January wasn't enough. I had to start 2 more at the beach retreat. The first one is, well, first let me show you. This is in another Lynn X Stitch Creates bag. This one is one I was watching Brenda Handwork Maniac, and she had started this, and I just loved it, so I had to start it. This is Haberdashery Shop by Doreen Jones. I'll show you a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. There's no before picture because you haven't seen it before. So I started this at the retreat, and I obviously, when I started, did not pay attention to which way I had it in a Q-snap, which way I'd had my Q-snap on the frame I was using. So I started at the top of the pattern, and I got almost 1,000 stitches in, put it away, came home and pulled it out earlier this week because I had left some ends hanging I wanted to weave in before I recorded a video, and realized that I'd started at the top of the pattern, but at the bottom of the fabric. So this is not a giant. This is full coverage, but it's not huge. It's 121 by 181, I think. I'm doing it on 20 count Ada easy grid, but unfortunately, even though I have some space here, this is not. I have plenty of space here. There's not enough space to work down from here. So I'm leaving that. I'm not ripping it out because I fortunately have enough fabric that I can just whack that off when I'm done. And I have restarted it up top. And this is the entire, so this is the far side. That's the entire width of the pattern, which is about 121 stitches. So it will not be huge. That is, I think, a little over 500 stitches, which is my minimum for any new start. So I got it there again, and you know, I've put 1,400 stitches in the project, but only 500 stitches that will be useful. So as you can see, where I'd started before is down here, but this, it will end, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will end there, which still gives me, what, 3 or 4 rows of squares left, plenty of gap at the bottom once I whack off this bottom. So I'm not precious enough over 20 count Ada easy grid to pick that out to be able to save it. I mean, I'll save the little pieces I can around it in case I want to use them for ornaments or small pieces, but I'm not going to pick almost 1,000 stitches out when I don't have to. And then my other new start, this is in a North Carolina, South Carolina fabric bag that was made by Memory, one of the owners of Barefoot Needle Arts. Memory and Amy own Barefoot Needle Arts. And this is Autumn Seaside by Forbidden Fiber Co. This is what it will look like when it's finished. This is a pattern designed by her. The fabric is hers and the floss is dyed by hers. So these are the floss. I love her floss. I was in her floss club. I did stop her club for now. Although I love her flosses, they're not often called for, and I needed to cut back on some of my subscriptions this month. So I have a couple. I was being lazy while I was stitching at the retreat. So the stand that I take to retreats is one of those you flip over to, it has a swivel, except I clamp my light to my Q-snap. So if I want to flip it over, I have to unclip my light and flip it over. And I was being lazy. So instead of turning it over to run in ends, I was doing where you go a distance away and pull up the end. And once it's covered, then snip it. And I've got a couple I haven't gone back to weave in yet. So this is where I got to. So if you see the picture I posted of the finished thing, it doesn't look like, it looks like a cream color background fabric, but this is the actual called for fabric. It's just, I talked to her at SAF, which is where I bought the fabric, and she said this was the fabric that picture's on it, just you couldn't get the camera to capture it. So once I saw this fabric, I loved it even more. So I got a good chunk of that blue pumpkin in the middle done, and a little bit of seagull feet. I started in the middle because of the way I was using this size Q-snap, but I didn't want to use it this way because it's a tall, skinny pattern. So I was using it sideways like this, and I would have this in Pattern Keeper. So I had locked my screen so that my pattern went this way too, so that I'm, stitching the way my pattern looks. So, but that's the way it will go. So I did start in the middle because I figured it was kind of too hard to figure out. Plus, up at the top, there's a lot less stuff. So figuring out the corner and counting over, it wasn't worth it. So that fabric is 40 count, and the colorway is Lullaby. Like I said, it's dyed by Forbidden Fabric Co. She does fabric, floss, and also does yarn. I think she originally was a yarn dyer because I was aware of her when I was just knitting. And then I guess she got back in a cross stitch and she decided she could dye floss too. So that is all I have to show you cross stitch wise. On the docket is my second February Whip Go call, which is Lady Liberty. I'm going to start that probably tomorrow and try to get 10 hours in on that. Hopefully most of that this week. I want to finish my Mr. February this month, and I still need to get some stitches in on Happily Ever After to keep on track to finish that before my granddaughter's birthday in June. So those are going to be that, and the baby blanket are going to be my focuses once I get 10 hours in on Lady Liberty. So those are the 3 things I will work on the most. So let's get into stashing for retirement because there's quite a bit to show you this time. So I have this big basket, which is mostly full of stuff, and most of it came from retreat shopping. But I do have a couple things that are my regular subscriptions I want to show you. I got my January fabric of Atomic Ranch, which I'm getting through Pam, Stitching in the Land of Good Enough is her floss tube. She owns a shop called Stitch New England in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. So I got my first of this, which is Freeze. I am getting 32 count from her. 36 count is my happy place, but I have a lot of 36 count fabric, so I'm trying to get a little bit of stash of 32 count because that is, if I have something that have beads and stuff, 32 count is my preferred over 28. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more stash of that. And then I got my Bestitch Me for January. I think this was January. Hot Cocoa. I do the alternating neutral 1 month, color another month. So Hot Cocoa was the January fabric. I get a 36 count from her. And then my Floss Club through Pam, I do Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and MPI Silks. So these were the week's colors. It's always interesting to me how she's doing it alphabetically, but they always seem to kind of be a color palette. Like last time, they all seem to be kind of pastel. This time, with the exception of this bright blue crazy one, which is called Confetti, they all seem to be kind of fallish colors to me. And then I also get Classic Colorworks from her. The weeks were all in kind of like the C's. I'm into the D's on Classic Colorworks. Whoops. Lots of greens and some pastels, and then a kind of rusty color. And then the MPI for the month, in the low 200s, I think. No, 186, 203. The Russet Red range and the Bunny Brown range, and then one more Northern Lights is the light blue. So those were the club things that I got. And then we got retreat stuff. So let me show you a few things that were like gifts at the retreat, either from the Amy in Memory or various people there. When I went in October, Amy was asking me if I'd ever been to a retreat, if I had suggestions for the retreat that were fun from other retreats and stuff I'd been to. And I said, well, I hadn't really been to a lot of cross-stitch retreats. You know, I've been to a lot of knitting retreats, but my friend Michelle and I had gone to a quilt retreat in August. And one thing that we found fun is there the quilt fairy visited every night. So we'd come in the morning and we'd have a little gift on our seat. So Amy in Memory took that idea and tweaked it to their own, and they had the retreat fairy, but instead of doing it every night, the retreat fairy just kind of went around periodically and gave gifts and stuff. But this was something we actually got when we checked in, and just a nice cup with straw and lid that says Beach Retreat, Barefoot Needle Arts Beach Retreat. This is the logo for the Beach Retreat. Hopefully you can see that. So we got that. Let's see. Inside of that were a couple more pieces of paper. Those are instructions, but we got like some schedules, some of their upcoming classes. They have got a class in March with Primitive Hair, a drum class. They have Jean Farish doing a class in April. They have Oliver, who used to be with Fire Poppies. I couldn't think of the name of it. Doing some classes in June and August. So check out their website if you're interested in some classes in the Myrtle Beach area. We got this free chart that was in the thing from, I think this is from Jean Farish. Yeah, from Jean Farish. And I'm going to hide the chart and just show you what it looks like. It just says, being happy never goes out of style. Quote from Lily Pulitzer. This is out of order, but I don't want to lose it. I got in the mail today. I had signed, totally changing the topic. I had signed up, and I told you back in August of last year, I think, that I'd signed up for the Juicy Juice Allison Glass mini-series sew along. I never did any of it, but today in the mail I got a patch for signing up, which was nice. I mean, it's a cute little patch. I might put it on something. Let's see. This was a gift from someone, an attendee. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was from. I can picture her, but I can't think of her name. It's a little sewn tissue holder. It holds little packs of tissue. And she came around with a huge bag. She had made a ton of them. These are some counting pins that my friend Michelle made. This was a gift from the Retreat Fairy. It's a little scissor holder. It's got a pocket there and a little pocket there. This was from the Retreat Fairy. Some floss drops with shape of South Carolina, and a couple of the little like wire rings that screw together. I'm not sure if this was Retreat Fairy or somebody else, because I came back to my chair and it was sitting there. It's a little needle book, little piece of felt in here they put needles in. This was a Retreat Fairy thing, so it's like a needle and bead case. I'll take it out of the plastic. So it's like, these are for like business cards. So they put a little, these varied. Mine's a sand dollar. They had turtles and, you know, all beachy themed. And then they have added a magnet up here to hold needles and a piece of, it's kind of felty to like put beads on so they don't roll around. So, and I think the needles are, yeah, so one's a 26 tapestry needle and one's an actual beading needle. So that's a really cute idea. This was an attendee that gave these out, a set of counting pins. Peggy gave us all a needle threader. Oh, I forgot to mention, I met Faye Rigsby, who is an awesome finisher, who lives like 20 minutes from me, and I knew that, but I'd never actually met her. So she was there, and so I've got her. Caroline Stitcher is her like online name, but I think her Instagram is Faye Rigsby if you want to see all the awesome things she does. These are some floss cards from Jennifer Lee, who I met. She lives up in Virginia. We had a silent auction for some patterns, one of which was Mirabilia, not Lady of the Flag. What's the other one? Flag of Freedom. So I was bidding against her for that, but she wanted it worse than I did, and it's not the top of my unicorn list, so I let her have it. But this was something from Leslie Under the Sea Fabrics. It has a thing for her retreats. It has some floss cards, some a little mermaid thing, and actually I haven't opened that to see what else is in there yet. Let's see. This was from the Retreat Fairy. Is a needle minder. Sorry, it's gotten flipped over in here. It's like flowers, and it says side by side or miles apart, stitch friends will always be close at heart. So the needle minder is like a heart of flowers, and I think that's all the like goodies that were handed out. We'll see once I get down through all this. So a couple things. Let's see what I got here. These are not things I purchased exactly, so we'll see. Well, some of this. I bought like a $10 grab bag from Barefoot Needle Arts, and I got an Ada one. So there's a piece of Ada fabric down in here that I'll show you in a bit. But a couple of these came, and then also had some patterns and stuff. So in that I got Brooks Books, Spirit of Christmas Stitching. If I did that, I think I would do the lady and all the other stuff, but I don't think I would do like the wings or the heart or whatever that is behind her. And I also might change the colors on her dress somewhat, so we'll see. This was also in the grab bag, Dinky Dies for My Friend Scissor Pocket. It has the Dinky Dies in it. I'm not going to hold it, shows the pattern on the back. Also from the grab bag, Little House Needleworks, Home of a Needleworker. Lizzie Kate, Land That I Love. And Stitchy Fizzy Moon. This was obviously came out of a magazine, but it's a whole little kit. And what it is it's a card, and you stitch this little part of the bear sticking out behind, and then there's a hole in the card that it, you know, shows up behind. So all that was in like that, and a piece of fabric I'll show you were in like a $10 grab bag. So I thought that was worth $10. I mean, particularly for the, you know, the Little House Needleworkers and stuff. These were a couple of things I picked up off the freebie table. I got this applique pattern, All Is Calm. Chair of Bowleys, which is Mary Englebright. That's the only reason I got that. This is a punch needle pattern, Dogwood, but I may actually use it as an applique pattern. We'll see. An anchor counted sampler called Literary Sampler. I got this for that center part. I doubt I would do all the houses, but I like the center part with the bookshelves and the book. The houses are from sorry, I gotta put my glasses on, like Shakespeare, Anne Hathaway's Cottage, Beatrix Potter, sorry, George Eliot, Arbery Farm, Thomas Hardy, Buckhampton, the Bronte family, Hayworth Village, D.H. Lawrence Eastwood, and Wordsworth Dove Cottage. I mean, the cottages are cute, but not something I'd really do the whole sample. But I like that center part with the bookcases and the books. So, and then this, so like I said, we had a silent auction, and this was something I'd bid on. The silent auction, and there was also raffles, which I didn't win any raffle prizes. All was for charity, and this time they did, I think it was called Our Pets Place for Our Pets. It's a local charity in Myrtle Beach that helps people who are either homeless or underprivileged, lower income, helps provide food and stuff for their pets so that they don't have to give up their pets. And we raised, I think, between the raffle and the silent auction, about $1,300, and then a generous anonymous attendee up that enough that we gave them $2,000, which they were very happy about. Anyway, so this is something I just bid on the silent auction. It's a Thomas Kincaid from Candamar Designs kit. I like Thomas Kincaid, so I may do that eventually. We'll see. It's the full kit with, 14 count Ada and the floss. I think it's 14 count, yeah. So then we get to all the stuff I bought. So I bought, they had the new Mirabilia, which is Nightingale. I love her. Why the hell they did it on that god-awful green fabric, I have no idea. That is, I mean, honestly, that is just the worst fabric pattern combination to me. I would never do it on that. But I think she's beautiful, and of course I love blues. So I got the pattern with the bead pack and the Karen Water Lilies. I bought all the DMC for it, and then I bought a piece of Leslie Under the Seas fabric to do it on. Now this is a fat half, so it's obviously going to be way too big. I will get much more, but so I'm going to do her on that. And I think it's surprising when I pulled all the DMC floss, as much as I feel like she was blue, there's very little blues in there. So I think that's going to work. We'll see, whenever I start it, because I don't know when that's going to be. If I have to substitute a little bit to make it show up right, I will as I go. Since it's all DMC except for that Karen Water Lilies, I'll have to see where those are and where they show up. And I was a little worried about it being dark, but then Leslie pointed out to me that some of these beads are glow in the dark. So she's intended to be done on a darker fabric, because she's got a lantern and she's Nightingale. But that, oh God, they should have picked something better than that green for the pattern picture. I think that's just hideous to me. I'm sorry. And then I have these two in bags because I have stuff to go with them. A pattern that I had really been wanting, and I just had kept myself from buying, was a new Brenda Gervais with that needle and thread. Santa Stops Here. I was considering it, and then somebody at the retreat, Linda, who was Stitchy Linda from Florida, she was working on it, and it's just beautiful. So I bought, so it's a combination of DMC and some fancy floss. I also picked some fancy flosses for the DMCs, so we will see. And so I bought all that there too. So I haven't picked fabric for that yet, but I'll need to pick fabric. And then, somewhere in here, it's probably in here. Sorry. Related to that, one of the attendees, and I can't remember her name now. So sorry, I've forgotten her name. Mary, I think it was Mary, overheard me talking to Linda and mentioning that I probably ought to just buy the Rudolph and Friends that kind of goes with that pattern. And she called me over and said, I have that pattern. I was going to put it on the freebie table. You can have it if you want it. So she brought me Rudolph and Friends. So kind of from the freebie table, but she gave it to me directly, which is great. So I don't know. We'll see how I do that. One more unrelated to the retreat that I forgot to show you, that, or two more actually, that I got. I mentioned previously I'm getting the snowmen from Cottage Garden samplings through Pam on auto ship, and I got two more of those. I got the clown, which was the second one, and she sends the fancy floss, and I got the third one, which is the shepherd, and fancy floss for that. And so the rest of these are ones I bought at Barefoot Needle Arts at the retreat. This actually was the retreat pattern that was designed by Bendy Stitchy. So we got this pattern free from the Retreat Fairy. It's designed to be a square. It says Recipe for Happy. One side says Stitching the Sea and Camaraderie. And then it has a representation of the shop. It has two people stitching with like 23 and a hoop for 2023. And then some palm trees with the moon in South Carolina and Myrtle Beach. So I like the pattern. What I don't like is, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but like this says Stitching the Sea and Camaraderie, and this is Myrtle Beach. She didn't leave enough. She didn't make this tall enough for this to really be visible and it be square still. And so I don't know. What I may actually do is do it all in one, like, strip. I'd have to decide exactly, you know, what order to put it. Put Recipe for Happy maybe in the center and the other two on either side. Or you could, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You know, it may be a while before I start that anyway. But I don't think I'm going to do the square unless I can figure out a way to add height so there's more gap on the bottom so that you can actually read it. So the other patterns I bought the sampler book from Erica Michaels. Now to actually get, I had never looked at this in person. I'd always assumed it was just an alphabet. And it is an alphabet, except that it's an alphabet of specialty stitches. This pattern does not give you all the alphabet. What it gives you is a lot of instructions for how to do it, fabric sizes, how to put it together and stuff like that. The actual patterns for the alphabet are free online. And when I got home and went to look it up, I actually realized I had already previously downloaded those. I guess I didn't realize it was that. So anyway, I bought this pattern book that gives you additional instructions. And this, I don't know when I'll start this, but it seems like it would be a neat long-term project. So, I got Cardinal Ken by Palm Street Samplers. I've been seeing a lot of people start this, and I just really love it. I don't know if I'll start it immediately. There are two color versions. I probably will do the redder one because to me, cardinals are bright red, although the burgundy is the shade I'm more drawn to normally. I'll probably do the bright red one. So I bought in the fall Halloween Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. And I caved and just bought all of them because now I have bought, a couple months ago, I bought the bigger version of the basket that Helen D used to do hers. So this is one of those things that it may be forever before I get around to. But I bought Christmas Tiny Town, Blooming Tiny Town. This is my least favorite, but I will probably do it eventually. Big Hearted Tiny Town, which I think just came out not too long ago. And Patriotic Tiny Town. So I will probably do all those eventually. And then this pattern, I think it was Jessie Marie Does Stuff did this one a while ago. This is May the Spirits from the Snowflower Diaries. And it says, may the only spirits that invade your home at Halloween be the happy spirits of friends. And I just really like the vibe of it, I guess. So, got that. I think that's all the patterns. This is the fabric that was in my bag. And it's funny, so when I first saw it in the bottom of the bag, I saw this part. And I thought, what the hell would you ever stitch on that? But then I pulled it out and realized it's actually meant to be like a pillow or something. So the center white area is the part you're supposed to stitch on. And then I think, you know, this, I mean, this is, I think, I mean, you could stitch on this, but it's not Aida. It's just a similar woven look. So, so I don't know. I might come up with something to do there and, you know, make a little pillow. Or worst case, I could just use that and cut this other stuff off. So, we'll see. If that had been all that was in the $10 grab bag, I might have been a little disappointed. But with the patterns and stuff that was in there, there was also some, actually, there was also a little bit of floss. There was some rainbow Angora. And there were a couple of, there we go. There were a couple of pearl cottons in there. And I love the color of this light lavender one. Oops, stuff's starting to slide. So, those two were pretty. And then I bought, so when I was there in October, I had bought a piece of fabric to do Rosewood Manor's Winter Quakers on. And had started pulling fancy flosses because they were out of the Valdani, the 3-strand Valdani that is designed for that pattern. They had it back in stock, so I bought it because I had been having some trouble looking at a picture of it online and figuring out what colors I needed. So now I've got to decide. I don't think this 3-strand Valdani will work on the 36 count fabric that I bought without splitting it, and I really don't want to have to do that. So now I have to decide, do I just use this to pull similar flosses to use the 36 count, or do I see what I've got for another piece of fabric to do on, I think the original was done on 28 count, but I've seen people do it on 32 count with these flosses. So I would probably go for 32 if I had something. So I haven't decided yet. Although, I don't know. We'll see. I may be able to find a 32 count similar to the fabric I had pulled, and then I can just use the 36 count that I had bought for something else. So we'll see. Now we're down to the fabric I bought, which is quite a bit. Oh, no, one more thing. Somebody, this was another retreat gift. Somebody was made a bunch of scissor fobs or bag pulls, whichever you want to use it for. Those were just some cards we got for businesses. Okay, let's see. So we will start first with the just random fabrics I bought from the shop that the shop already had that weren't from the Under the Sea show. So I have, because I'm doing the monthly gnomes that I want to do all those on Aida. I bought a few pieces of Aida that just to kind of have a little bit of stash to work from. So this is actually Under the Sea fabrics, but it was something they already had in stock. This is an 18 count Aida in green tea. And that's probably about accurate. It's maybe a little greener than that. This is Rogue Fabrics, a 16 count Aida in Freeze, which is the same colorway as my 32 count monthly fabric from Pam. It's just a nice neutral. So I think that will probably work for a couple of the fall gnomes. This will be St. Patrick's Day. The March gnome is going to be done on that. And I think, or maybe this one, I don't know. I think I didn't decide. This is Mystic Fabrics Tundra in an 18 count Aida. And this one's also kind of got a greenish tint. So, but it's got a little more hint of a browny gray or something. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll do that or I think I'll probably do the one that's more green and use this for something for the other months. Obviously these are big enough I can get more than 1 month on a piece of fabric. So I love the way that Barefoot Needle Art does their fabrics because they hang them on hangers. So it's really easy to look through and see. And then this, is that one Under the Sea? Yeah, that's Under the Sea. This is Fox and Rabbit Oyster Shell. In, what count did I get? 40, I think. yeah, this is 40 count linen. My friend Peggy had bought me for Christmas a piece of the white clay, which was the other colorway they came out with this fall. But I really wanted to see the oyster shell, and see, that's not really showing. It's, I don't know if I can show you. It's really that purpley gray that is like the inside of an oyster shell. Maybe that. And this was the problem. I looked at it online on several different websites, and it all looked a little different. Some of them looked a lot darker than it really is. But anyway, it's a great neutral, so I got that. And then these are the other, I bought the one, so all of the undersea fabrics that she brought for the retreat to buy were all fat halves, and they were, you had to buy the fat half. So the purple one I showed you with Mirabilia, that was from the show. This is the first one I saw that I fell in love with. This is called Ceres, I guess, Ceres. This is 40 count. And what I really loved about this is this side of it is mostly tans with hints of the kind of bluish purple. And this side of it has a lot more of the blue. So it's really kind of almost two separate fat quarters color-wise. I got a fat half of an 18 count Ada in tiramisu. This was just a good neutral Ada for my gnomes and whatever else. And then I had bought those two and the purple at the shop. And I was like, plus all these other fabrics I showed you. I thought that was enough. That's enough. Well, Sunday or Saturday evening, whatever, when Memory came back from the shop to the hotel, she brought all of the fabrics that had not been purchased, all of Leslie's fabrics that had not been purchased, back to the hotel for Leslie, because Leslie was at the retreat, and Leslie needed them to drive home. So they set them out in the room that we were retreating at, and it's like Saturday, I managed not to look at them. I bought enough fabric, blah blah blah, whatever. Sunday I made the mistake of looking at them, and I wasn't gonna buy any, and then they announced they were putting them up. And I had been looking at this colorway London Fog, and it's just a great bluey gray neutral. So I got it in 40 count. I finally caved and got it in 40 count. Because I was looking at it in 36, and I thought, well, if I can find it in 40 count, I'm going to get it. But while I was looking for that in 40 count, I also found this colorway, Spellbound, which I bought in 36 count. And it's more of a blue, but with a hint of gray. Just a really light, neutrally blue gray. Gray blue, I guess. It's more blue than gray. So I bought that in 36 count. So I bought a buttload of fabric. So like I said, I spent a lot. I've actually been doing good since late fall and haven't spent a lot of money on craft supplies, but I didn't blow my budget. I spent a little more than I had planned, but it was at least money I had set aside for crafting supplies. So anyway, so that is all of my stashing for retirement. I think that's about it. Calendar, I really don't have anything going on the next few months except for work. I do have the Queen City Stitch Retreat in October is the next specific thing that's planned as of right now. Of course, I will probably go to SAF in October as well. I really would like to sign up for Pam's New England retreat, but unfortunately it's like the weekend after the Queen City Stitch Retreat, which is the weekend before SAF, and I really just can't justify 3 weeks in a row, particularly when one of them is driving or flying to Massachusetts, depending on which way I went. So, plus add into the fact that I have a feeling we're going to be doing redistricting sometime in September and October, and so I really would hate to book that retreat, which is long distance, and not be able to go. So at least the Queen City one's in Charlotte. So, worst case, if I couldn't get there till Friday afternoon or evening, I wouldn't miss the whole thing. So Same thing for Saf. It's in Asheville. I can get there in, 4 hours. So, but otherwise, probably between now and June, it's just going to be work, more work, late hours at work, maybe some weekends at work. I'm still going to try to come back sometime in March and do another video. So I'm hoping to not go more than a month-ish, or at least do one each calendar month. So it might not, today is the 12th. I might not be back by March 12th, but hopefully I'll be back by the end of March. And, the longer it goes, the more I've got to show you, which of course makes the video longer. So I always try to put timestamps below so that you can hop around if you'd like to. After this, if you want to stay for a few minutes, I will try to put some pictures of our cruise in. And I might, if I need to look at what's online, I might put a couple pictures from the beach retreat. We'll see. I need to see if there's anything that, y'all would actually find interesting. You can, well, they're all in the Facebook group. I was going to say, you go to the Facebook group and see the pictures of everybody. I think the Facebook group, Beach Retreat, if you go to Barefoot Needle Arts, I think there's a link to the Facebook group, and I think it's open to anybody to join. I don't think it's restricted to attendees. So anyway, I'm rambling now. I will go. Thank you. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you were enabled. And I hope you'll come back to join me again. Again, remember to like, subscribe, do all the things. I actually haven't looked at my numbers. Last time I think I was pushing 300 still, but I had not quite made it there. So we'll see. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.